Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the show. It is me, your boy Rico, no Suave, and I'm super, super happy to actually have you guys as far as with us today. Welcome. Man, I am super, oh my God. You know what? I am like, how can I say this? I am super happy to be back with each and every one of you guys. And the reason why is because I love you guys. You miss me and I missed you. You already know. Yes. Welcome back. And yes, don't forget everybody, just continue to show that love and support to the Rico no Suave show, because we're going to the next level, everyone. And yes, going to the next level, we shall. Yes. Okay. So, there's a few things that's been going on around town. And, I want to talk about this viral moment, this viral moment that's actually been happening, I would say kind of like a week. So we're going to put up this first picture because I think you guys know who this is, and if you don't know who this is Shannon Sharpe and Katt Williams. So they kind of at Club Shay Shay. He has a podcast. He's killing it out there. He's a big time entertainer. He was an former NFL player, MVP, Pro Bowl, all of that great stuff. Usually how buff that guy is, man. He inspires me. I have to tell you, it inspires me. One of the things about having, different celebrities on his show, it was just a gathering. He had a lot of people, like I think Steve Harvey was one of them. He had a lot of great Cedric the Entertainer. He had a lot of great Kevin Hart. He had a lot of great people on his actual show. But this one here I think is one of the biggest ones that just hit like over 37 million. It might be even 40 million on YouTube right now on his podcast. Now, this podcast was actually at least 2 hours and 46 minutes. So with this full episode, Katt Williams, I have to say, is very, very intelligent. He is a very intelligent gentleman, but you have to go and check this out on Shay Shay, Club Shay Shay, and make sure that you check out his video. All right, back to me, because I want you guys to see what I'm feeling when it comes down to him and what was actually said. When we talk about, how can I say this? I want to say this right. When we talk about Hollywood, we talk about all of the celebrities during that time when Katt Williams was coming up, and I'm not going to spoil it for you, but there was a lot of people that he named in this video, in this episode, that was like, whoa, what? For real? No way. Are you serious? And you will be surprised in regards to some of the things that is true, but at the same time too, it was really, really like, I can't believe he said that. But they're talking about 2024 about coming out with the truth. What do I know about the truth? It's only when I hear from other celebrities that maybe I look up to and I'm like, wow, really? Is that what's really going on? But it's not like they didn't like what he said. It was more of, and it's not like they're jealous because he's kind of a legend as far as being in the industry. But I have to say that he is very smart. He is very intelligent. His family members, man, they went to college and they're living well and they're very smart. They're very intelligent. And he comes from a background and you're like, man, you would think that he would go in a different way. But being in comedy made it such a big thing because he's a legend, man. He's very smart. He's very intelligent. So you guys have to go and check it out. I don't want to spoil it for you, but if you haven't seen on Club Shay Shay or the podcast with Katt Williams, you're definitely going to be in a treat to be able to see what's going on. And the people that he did speak upon did, react to it. But it was more of a reaction where it wasn't like they were hating on him. But, you're always going to have haters out there. That's one thing. You're always going to have haters and whatever, and you just have to continue to move forward. But I want to say that he hit this really big, Club Shay Shay, he hit it really big on this. And, I'm proud of him because he got the right person to be able to come there to basically blow it up. And, he came back and said, hey, I don't care what you guys are saying. I treated him just like anyone else. And he was very, very, and he did it in an intelligent way, a very smart way to actually have Katt Williams on. And it took a while for him to get Katt Williams on there, but when he finally got him, now you can actually see exactly how many views he actually have, and you'll see why he received so many views. So, man, big shout out to my man, Club Shay Shay. I really love it. All right, everybody, I got to introduce this beautiful young lady. And, you know, when we talk about cultures, when we talk about different ways of learning from different cultures and then bringing that to the U.S., and then but also teaching along the way, this young lady has a journey that's unbelievable. She is an artist. She's an author. She is an educator. She's also a course creator, because giving back to the youth and also to the adults to be able to learn from what she learned from is very important in her life. And she's here to talk about it today. I want you guys to stand up, put your hand to your heart, read a book, because she is the bomb. Put your hands together for none other than Wendy Christine Duke. Let's go. Yeah, baby. Wendy, are you there?
I am here.
Hi, love. How are you?
I'm excellent. How are you?
I am great. I am great. You know, Wendy, I'm so happy to have you here today. And it's a pleasure. And of course, I have to give a big shout out to Ruth Davis for actually having you here with me today. And man, we're just excited to hear about your journey. Are you excited?
Oh, yes. I've been preparing all day and praying to have all the tech work and to have a great time talking to you in
Yes.
Chicago.
All right, let's get it on, love. Let's get it on, because there's going to be people that's probably going to be flooding in and asking questions. So let's go with the first question here. When you were living with your daughter and husband in Japan and Misawa, what was the experience like, and what was the culture of learning there in Japan?
First off, where I lived was northern Japan, where
Okay.
the snow monkeys spend the winter in the hot springs.
Wow.
Minus 40 in the winter.
Wow.
And my daughter was born in Japan. And we had a wonderful time exploring all over. When I found out about Oshie, it was because I saw this beautiful piece of artwork on a wall of a Japanese kabuki dancer. And I wanted to learn how to make it because it looked three-dimensional. So my husband's secretary at the Air Force Base, where he was stationed, found the woman who made the artwork. And she said she would teach me, but she spoke only Skoshi English, and I only spoke Skoshi Japanese.
Hmm.
So I learned from her by pantomime. She would do something, I would try to copy, she would rip it apart, then she would smack my hand, tell me how stupid I was in Japanese, and I would do it
No.
again. And I
Yeah.
learned really fast because I did not like being hit.
Yes.
But the Japanese system for teaching art, fine craft, is an apprenticeship.
Hmm.
And that's how she was taught when she was a young woman. So she was just giving to me what her master's teachers gave to her.
Wow.
And it was amazing.
Yeah. So, how long were you living in Japan
Just
during that
under
time?
3 years.
3 years? Okay.
Yeah, it was an isolated tour, is what it was considered.
Okay.
And I can show you what Oshie, which is what it's called,
Yep.
what it looks like in the traditional form. Would you like to see a piece?
Yeah. Let's see it.
Okay. So this, all right. Can you see that it looks like pieces of fabric
Yes.
and layers and all that? But when you turn it to the side, you'll see it's almost flat.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So
Right.
it is an unusual art form that even in Japan is pretty obscure.
Right.
There's a lot of doll making in Japan, but most of it's very three-dimensional.
Mm.
Oshie means padded picture. And I can explain to you how it's made if you would like to know that.
Yes, before you do that, because I'm because everything has a story when you go from
Yes.
culture to culture, right?
Hi.
And because you were in Japan during that time of 3 years, I mean, that's kind of like where if you was to go and study abroad, and when you look at the 3 years that you've actually been there, what was it like, for you during that time to get acclimated, to be able to, feel like you're part of the culture? Because 3 years, I mean, if you're there, there's a lot of things that you will have to get accustomed to while you're there. Was it 3 years straight that you were actually there?
Yes. And I will tell you that most of the Japanese people wanted me to speak English with them so they could practice their English. And
Interesting.
I could tell that they were not real comfortable with my version of Japanese. So it was great. My husband and I used to sing in USO shows. And so we would bring our guitar wherever
Uh-huh.
we went, and we would sing at that time Beatles songs. This is in
Mm,
1970.
yeah.
So the Japanese people would sing along in English, not so good, but they loved the music.
Sure.
And that's how we made friends. Music is a great ambassador, as you know.
Yes.
It ties cultures together.
Yes. That's
And so
beautiful. Yeah.
wherever we went, and then after my daughter was born, it turned out there was a folk tale in northern Japan that if you touch a golden haired child, and my daughter was blonde hair and blue eyes,
Uh-huh.
you would have good luck for the rest of your life.
Oh, wow.
So everywhere we went with my daughter, who was usually in the backpack with my husband on my husband's back,
Uh-huh.
the the women would come and pick her up and pass her around and rub her head. And they would all be thrilled because they now knew they were going to have good luck. Because where in Japan would you find a golden haired child to get good luck?
Right.
So wherever we
Right.
went, which was as many places as we could figure out how to get there, we would read the kanji on the street signs to try to figure out how it matched the map.
Yeah.
So we
Wow.
traveled everywhere. We brought our guitar, we brought my golden haired child, and we had so many amazing opportunities to share with the Japanese people. And it was always funny and lighthearted. And there was never anything that was like the ugly American thing that you hear,
Right.
because we were away from other Americans. We were in the culture, enjoying
Yes.
their country,
Yes.
and it was fabulous. And then there's the earthquakes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every day there would be tremors.
Wow.
2 or 3 times a week they'd be pretty strong, and 2 or 3 times a month they'd be strong enough for us to go stand in the doorway and hope the house wouldn't fall.
Wow.
But
Wow.
that's Japan. Now where we lived, which was Misawa, not too far from the Pacific coast, and that horrible tsunami that hit about 10 years ago or so,
Sure.
that actually hit the area right near where we had been stationed, but 50 years apart.
Right, right, right. I think, when we think about the culture and everything that comes along with it. So you do have the agriculture, you do have, nature, of course, and then you have the food, and then you have the people, and then you
Yes.
have the language that goes
Yes,
along with it as well. I think 3 years is a really good time to
it was.
really indulge yourself, to be able to learn. Even in that first year, if you're really excited about something, you want to know everything about it within that first 6 to 8 months, that you're actually there and just living. What about the language? I mean, I spoke a little bit about the language. What about the language piece? Was that kind of, well, I
Forget
wouldn't
it.
say is that kind of big. Yeah, I would think if you want to get
All right.
around.
I'm an
Yeah.
artist, so I can see the kanji and I could
Uh-huh.
look at the shape of the characters and get a sense of what it is. But of course, they read backwards from the
Yeah.
way we read. And the language has, in just like speaking Spanish. Every country,
Yes.
every part of a country has different intonation and a different way of saying things, different slang. And it's true in Japan as well. So there's a formal kanji, and then there's the regular, and then there's slang. And you have to be very careful not to offend, and especially older people
Yeah.
are much more likely to be stiff. My
Yeah.
teacher, my sensei, she was very challenged by me, but I persevered, and she finally decided I was okay. But for the most part, the younger Japanese, as in other cultures, they're interested in what other people are doing.
Yeah.
I also think that when we were there, it was only less than 30 years since World War II. And World War II was quite devastating to the Japanese people because they lost so much.
Yeah.
Yes, they were the ones that attacked us at Pearl Harbor. And by the way, I've been to Pearl Harbor. And however, every year on all the television and radio, on the moment that the bombs were dropped in Hiroshima, there's a minute of silence on the radio and television. And it's very sobering because this is the only place in the world that the atom bomb has been dropped.
Wow.
And that's, I mean, for the regular people, the ones that didn't go to war, the ones that were just at the effect of it, that was a pretty sobering thing to realize. Now, I never went to the place. The city exists, and the area where the bomb dropped, there's a shrine around that whole area. But the birth defects and the cancers and things that happened as a result are still generationally affecting the families that were exposed.
I can't believe that.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. I was born on December 7, 1972.
Oh my goodness.
So, and
Horrible time.
yeah, and when I bought the movie Pearl Harbor as
Yes.
well too, because I was born on that day, and I was like, wow, I'm like, it's not a holiday that I want to celebrate, but of course,
No.
just another day of being alive, and it's
It is.
good, but knowing that, as far as you being able to experience that it's kind of part of that culture, and other things as well. So, and it was interesting about the language that you were talking about and how you were able to figure out what was what and the words itself. Did you ever get to a point of you and the family of being able to really speak, like have a good conversation in the language itself? No?
I believe that learning language is for very younger people. They can pick up 2 or 3 languages simultaneously and then integrate it by the time they're 6 or 7.
Yeah.
I did not have that facility.
Oh.
But
Okay,
I
that's
will
okay.
say that I shared and broke bread and joined in with many Japanese families. We ate meals together. We had fun.
Okay.
At one point, my husband and I, when I was pregnant with my daughter before I gave birth, we were living in a hotel, which was at one time a kamikaze hospital.
Oh, wow.
And we were on the 2nd floor, and the landlord would have sake parties on Friday nights. And even though I didn't understand, I knew when they were telling dirty jokes.
It's funny. Every languages have that.
Oh my God, every language. So, yeah. But there was a welcoming to us because we lived in the Japanese community. It wasn't until the last year we were there that we actually got to move on to the Air Force Base. So we lived in the Japanese community. All my neighbors were Japanese, and they all had fun listening to me try to butcher their language.
Yeah.
No. English. So So, okay, I try.
You're like, I want to learn too. I want to learn. I want to
Yeah,
come back.
I tried. I tried. I did try. I took some classes, and I think I learned the art Oshie,
Yeah,
and that was good.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
And I think that can be a little bit of a segue of, before we take a break in a
sure.
few minutes. I do want to talk about as far as, the meaning, the word, as far as kind of the background of Oshie.
Hmm.
Where did that, how did that develop? Because as an artist, as yourself, you have to be able to know as far as a little bit of background behind
Yes.
it. And of course, if you're actually starting to design and become that artist, you want to get deep into it. And of course, as a teacher, or I don't know, do they call you, are you a sensei? Are you a sensei right now?
I would not give myself master status,
No?
but other
Okay.
people have.
Okay.
I'm a good teacher, and I'm the only one in the world that does it in a Oshie in a contemporary format. So in that regard,
Yes.
I've mastered contemporary Oshie, but I
Okay.
named it, so I'm the
Okay.
only one. So I'll tell you a little bit about the history, which I did
Yes.
not know when I was living in Japan. I did not even know it was called Oshie. I was told they were padded picture dolls, like the one I showed you.
Yep.
But where it really starts out is in China. So I'm going to show you something.
Okay.
This is a letter basket made with the eight immortals. Those are the gods in Chinese mythology. And
Wow.
you can see they sort of have that dimensional look.
Yeah.
But this
Yeah.
letter basket is an example of one that my uncle mailed to us when we were little girls, my sister and I.
Okay.
And he mailed it from Japan, but it was Chinese. And I happened to find this on the internet on Etsy. So they fold it up and then it pops open into a letter basket. Very cool.
Okay. Okay. All
So that
right.
in the year 800 AD, somewhere right around there, is when someone from China brought over some version of this, and
Uh-huh.
the Japanese adopted it as something cool.
Okay.
So from 800 to now, the techniques have evolved, and the traditional format, which is this one that I showed you,
Yes.
that is
That's
traditional
beautiful.
Oshie. Isn't that cool?
Yeah,
My
that's so
sister found
beautiful.
this at a yard sale for 50 cents.
What?
No kidding. So this
Wow.
is hand stenciled because the person that made this did not have access to the very fine kimonos that the doll industry makes for dolls scaled down in size. So this
Wow.
is all hand painted,
Yep.
and every detail on it is something they scrounged around to find.
Wow.
So that technique is what they teach in traditional Oshie. They have other forms of Oshie that are very elaborate,
Okay.
but I don't do any of those. I took the technique as I learned it and then brought the examples home with me with my knowledge of what to do with my sensei. But
Yeah.
when I came back to the United States, I didn't have her patterns. I did not have the kimono fabric, and I did not have access to anything like what I was used to using.
Wow.
So I started to get inventive, and I had to go into fabric stores and look for brocades and silks that even slightly gave the feel of something Japanese. And then at some point I realized, wait a minute, I'm not in Japan. I don't have to do Japanese things. I can do American things. I can do
Mm.
flowers. I can do landscapes.
Yeah.
And so my journey with creating contemporary Oshie was an evolution of light bulb moments where I thought, I wonder if I could do that. And then I would play around with it. And
Uh-huh.
then, yeah, I can do that. And it turned out to be very serendipity like. Every time somebody asked me, well, can you make me something? And I'd say, let me think. and then I would do it. So here's an example right behind me. You see this fish?
Yes.
Okay. That is on a pedestal. Now, I thought I invented the idea of putting Oshie on a pedestal. Until one day I was looking on the internet and actually found a Japanese museum that had a whole bunch of Oshie and pedestals.
Okay.
Brilliant minds think alike.
It's okay.
So this fish was created for a jewelry store that wanted to do a display called Gifts from the Sea. And they were going to have their pearl and coral and abalone and all the beautiful things. And they were going to drape things on the fish and put it in their beautiful display windows. I had several fish. So great. Opening day, everybody comes. Nobody wanted to buy the jewelry. They wanted to buy the fish.
Oh, wow.
So he made me take it back. Yeah. You just love that kind of stuff because it's like, who would have known? I thought I was just giving him something for a display.
Right.
Yeah. Well, okay. So for me, the evolution has just been asking myself, why not try this and then try that? And my largest piece of Oshie was actually a 40-foot landscape mural that went around several walls in a bank.
Wow.
And things like that.
Wow.
So there's nobody in Japan that makes 40-foot Oshie.
Right.
I'm apparently the only crazy person to take that on. Yeah.
Where was that at? Was that
all in Maryland? There's a
Maryland?
Yeah. Okay. It's probably gone by now because what happens in hotels, restaurants, corporate places, they usually change out their artwork and display every 6 or 7 years.
Okay. Yeah.
So who knows where my stuff has gone since then? Probably somebody's home.
Right. That's pretty big.
I know.
That's pretty huge. I mean, when I think about how you took the culture of the Oshie from what you learned in Japan and then you made it contemporary, it's almost as if you would take something from the U.S. and take it to Japan, where it's something different, right? It's something different from them because what they're used to that culture, they might not be used to the U.S. cultures in certain areas. Oh, this was in, Virginia, and Virginia is blah, blah, blah. You'll tell about the history to the people in Japan. But I like the cross reference that you actually use when it became that language, that they wanted you to speak more English and sing songs because that's what they like, right? When they see, they see about the stars, the celebrities that's actually here and they want to sing songs that make them feel that they're actually a part of us and we're a part of them in regards to what you're doing. Have you thought, before we take a quick break, have you thought about kind of putting the tradition of what was actually taught in Japan a little bit in the mix of what you're doing contemporary?
My book has a whole section on the history.
Okay.
And a nod to all of those, mostly women, some men, but mostly women over centuries who have refined and repeated and done things to the point where now the traditions that exist are honored by all Japanese. When they see it, they know it. Some of them don't even know what it's called, but hey, padded picture dolls works for me. But I was going to say another thing. You were just talking about something. American quilt making, which is uniquely American initially, is really big in Japan.
Oh, wow.
And there are huge quilt shows. And I will tell you, the Japanese culture is, thousands of years old.
Sure.
And the refinement of their art sensibility, the way they design things, their quilts are amazing.
I'm sure. Oh,
and one of my goals is to have this book translated into Japanese so I can get invited back.
Let's go.
And show the Japanese people what I've done with the gift that they gave me 53 years ago.
I like that.
I
like that. I like that. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Wendy, I mean, I'm super happy that you're on the show because I'm sure a lot of people are getting, that little bit of education in regards to your journey. But we're gonna take a quick break, my love. We're gonna take a quick break. 30 seconds. Everybody, you already know we have Wendy Christine Duke here with us right now. We'll be back. 30 seconds. Let's go.
Rico, I
Yeah, can
cannot.
you still hear me? Are
I
you
hear
here
you.
with me?
Yes, I am.
All righty, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back. You already know if you're watching us right now, we have none other than the beautiful Wendy Christine Duke here with us on the Rico No Suave show. And yes, I am your host, Rico No Suave. And are you having a good time, Wendy?
I'm enjoying this tremendously.
Let's go. Let's go. And
Let's go.
when you talked about going back to Japan because you want to have this translated, take me with you. That's all I got to ask, Wendy.
Oh,
Take me with you.
no problem.
Let's go. Let's go. I'll be walking behind you as a talk show host, letting everybody know who you
We'll
are.
teach them, we'll teach them how to salsa, huh?
That's right. We can do that too. We can do that too. I love that. All right. So check this out. So, we have when we talk about from Japan and then we talk to going to Hawaii. So Hawaii is in this journey as well. Two different cultures, right? And then you started to teach. Talk to us about kind of that transition, of course, where you were in Japan, and then you're in Hawaii, right? At one point in time in your life. What was that like? What was that experience all about?
There's a big gap in between the
Yeah,
two.
sure.
Uh, husband number one, bye bye. And I married husband number two in Hawaii. I was here in Virginia. He was in Hawaii. We met on the internet, Yahoo Personals,
Okay.
and we got married in Hawaii. He was NASA's education liaison to the Hawaiian Islands.
Oh,
He
wow.
was actually a physicist and aeronautical engineer. And so we had opportunities to meet with Native Hawaiians, which are less than 10% of the entire Hawaiian population. There's a strong element of Japanese
Okay.
in the Hawaiian Islands, Filipino, Vietnamese, Portuguese, and many of them came to pick the sugar cane and the pineapple. But I lived on the Big Island up in Volcano, right near the summit of Kilauea, the active volcano you can walk up and watch the lava flow by.
Wow.
And where I lived was almost 4,000 feet in a cloud forest. And that's where the name Cloud Haven Studio came from. So I always had art studios, but I lived every day there was rain. We had about 200 inches of rain a year.
Wow.
And it was average temperature was right around 70, 75. It was fabulous. I had orchids in my trees and all of that.
Yeah.
The Hawaiian culture and the tropical nature of the islands means that the colors are much more saturated, they're a lot more vibrant subject matter, a lot more beautiful things to see, very different than where I lived in the snowy north of Japan. But the culture in Hawaii it's a rainbow. There's no one, I mean, the haoles, which is what they called us white people, that meant without breath or spirit.
What did
It's
they?
not a
What they?
good
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that last part. What did they call you?
howling without breath. In
Oh, okay.
Hawaiian, you greet somebody, you touch foreheads,
Yeah.
and you breathe deeply, and you share breath. Now,
Mm,
since the the settlers that came to Hawaii from the Western world, thinking they were the king of the universe and nobody else knew anything, did not recognize the Hawaiian people as being intelligent because they didn't have a written language. Their tradition is all oral. So from generation to generation to generation, everything is spoken and they're chants. And
mm,
I actually listened to just one part of a 9-hour chant that is the creation myth that begins with the heavens and the earth and the beginning of life. And it is awesome. And this is memorized chant.
mm,
So until the white people came and settled the islands, and until the United States illegally took over the Hawaiian Islands and made it part of the United States, the Hawaiian culture was fabulously alive and beautiful. And I did try to learn hula. That was painful. The Hawaiian language
yeah.
has almost all vowels, so every other letter is a vowel, and the street names are like long.
Yeah. Yeah.
Turn on this street. What? It is, even though it's part now of the United States, it really is a third world country in
Yeah.
that it's not, it's got everybody and everything, and it's very different, and it's isolated in the middle of the Pacific, 2,500 miles from California, and everything you do there is hopefully respectful of the culture and the land. And there
Mm,
is the aina, the land, that is the thing that is sacred to all Hawaiian people, should be sacred to all of us planet-wide.
yeah.
And so I learned a lot about the Hawaiian culture. I did my best to integrate some of the Hawaiian culture into my O'Shea. I had been taking notes when I had taught classes to people, and I ended up starting to make booklets and teach more formally out of my studio in Volcano, and bringing that forward back to the mainland. That's what they call it, the
Yeah. The
mainland.
mainland.
Yeah. And it's a lot about the Hawaiian culture and the colors. You can see this is a drawing I did while I was in Hawaii. You can see
Yes.
the full spectrum, vibrant colors. That is actually a Prismacolor pencil drawing, a lot of drawing as well.
Nice.
But it was such a wonderful period of time for me because I got to just feel this. I had basically a 4-year honeymoon while I was there. And it was very romantic, very beautiful,
Yeah.
very different. They have earthquakes, but they're different because
Y-
their earthquakes happen when the magma chamber is empty, and it feels like you're
Yeah.
on a roller coaster, and all of a sudden it drops.
Drops. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, Hawaii was spectacular. I was there for 4 years, and we drove everywhere we could, visited as many of the islands as we could, and met with people of all different cultures. And it was amazing. I spent time at the summit of Mauna Kea, which is the highest volcano in the Pacific, actually, because it built up from the ocean floor. It
Hmm.
rises 31,000 feet from the ocean
Wow.
floor, 14,000 feet above sea level. So there's snow on Mauna Kea in the winter, and you can be in the rainforest in Volcano and look up and see the snow, and drive 30 miles down to Hilo and go snorkeling in the ocean, all
Wow.
in the same day.
That's beautiful, man. You make me want to go to Hawaii. But
It's a
I've
big
heard
island.
so many great things about Hawaii and how
Mm-hmm.
beautiful that it is. As far as when it comes to, of course, learning the culture, how many years were you in Hawaii?
4.
4. Wow. Okay.
Mhm.
So 3 in Japan, 4 in Hawaii. Now, to be able to were you doing the contemporary, because there was a gap in
Yes.
between, were you doing
Yeah.
teaching the contemporary art
Yes.
of Oshie? And okay. So what was that like? How were you able to introduce that before we take a break? How were you able to introduce that into the culture in Hawaii?
Well, the culture's mixed. It isn't like, you go down the street and you could be talking to someone who's native Hawaiian and someone who's from Portugal and someone who's from Vietnam and someone's Chinese, someone from North Carolina, all within the space of, an hour. So there isn't like, unless you become friends with the native Hawaiians and are welcomed into what they're doing. Mostly most people see it only as a touristy kind of a thing. My husband, because of the nature of his job, we got to work with and meet with many native Hawaiians, and there were things about their culture. I actually have some artwork in Oshie that has some cordage that's braided from the hau trees, gathered in a forest and soaked in seawater, and I got to be part of that whole process.
Oh, wow.
And then I incorporated the braid, and fortunately the piece is a little too big to bring in here. So
wow.
Anyway, I did my best to take the flowers, especially, that's easy. I did a lot of photography there, a lot of drawing, and a lot of contemporary Oshie. And I did best to share with anyone who wanted to learn. And I always ended up with a full studio full of people that wanted to learn this technique. And there was never, there were Americans, there were Hawaiians, there were Japanese, there was mixed, all kinds of people learning for different reasons. And they take it where they wanted it.
Oh, I see.
So I don't know all the journeys that people have taken Oshie to, because some of them have shown me things. For the most part, it's like a mama bird. You make sure they know the skill, the technique, and you kick them out of the nest and say, "Go fly."
Yeah, I like that.
Well, really teaching, when you teach anything, it doesn't matter what it is. Really what you're doing is you're giving people permission to use their creative parts of themselves that often get killed off by the time they're in third or fourth grade. Most people will come into my studio and say, before you start teaching me, I just want you to know I can't draw even a stick figure without a ruler. And I said, good, because we're not doing that here.
Yeah.
And what I try to do is encourage them step by step, taking them through a process where there isn't anything they need to know other than what I give them. Don't have to draw. They can copy. They don't have to sew. They can glue, because that's what this technique is. It's all glued. There's no sewing.
Oh, wow.
So, and the most expensive piece of equipment is a good pair of scissors.
Wow.
So it's an inexpensive technique to learn. And I teach the first class, depending on how much time they want to give. If they have a half a day, I teach them something simple. If they have a full day, I give them something like a landscape or a flower to do. And at the end, everybody walked out the door with a finished piece.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I like that. Wendy, time is flying by so fast. Time is flying by so fast because it's when you're having a good time in regards to things that you love to talk about, but also for me to be able to listen to this journey and what you've been through is amazing, and what you're doing to actually teach. So, when we come back, we got to get a little bit more into, more of the Oshie. I do have hopefully it's a good question for you when I come back, but sit tight because we're about to talk race cars. We're about to talk NASCAR, baby. So sit tight. Here we go. All right, everybody. This is the NASCAR moment. Your boy Rico, no, Suave. So NASCAR moments, everybody. This is what we're all about. And I'm so happy to be able to do this. It's 2024. We're ready to get into it. We're affiliation, and it's going to be the bomb. The one thing I will tell you guys about this NASCAR moments, your first time actually checking in with us, is that we talk about the history. We also talk about some really great moments about NASCAR and what you may not know about NASCAR as well too. So, doing my, investigation, and more of NASCAR and doing my research, I wanted to know what is the longest track for NASCAR that they've actually had their race car drivers driving on. And of course, it was Talladega in Alabama. Yeah, baby, that is the aerial. Man, this is the normal track size is 1 mile. This one is 2.66 miles. That is long. And when I say that's long, everybody, that is a long track. Because imagine this, each car that has to drive, and it's could be up to maybe, 30 of them, right? Based off of the competition. It could be even more. But they have to do up to the average laps that they actually have to do from the whole thing can be up to actually 120 laps, right? And that's for a 1 mile. So imagine, of course, since it's longer, they might have to do shorter laps based off of, the drivers itself and based off of the competition, based off of what the Xfinity series or whatever the competition is. It could be the playoffs or whatsoever. But, when they're actually in those cars itself, I was talking to one of my good friends. I can call him my good friend now, Matt Jasko. It's 106 degrees when they're actually driving in these cars. Even when they're in the pit, when they come in the pit, they stop for a little bit. It's still hot. To be able to drive that long, and this competitions like these playoffs, or when they're actually going for this race, can be between 3 to 4 hours. And imagine that. You have to be able to have that patience with heat. And also, of course, being a professional race car driver as they are, there's a lot involved. There's a lot involved in regards to making sure that there's no accidents, making sure that they're actually safe, and talking to, to the pit, to the owner, to the, to the supervisor, whoever that's actually helping them as far as win that race. But imagine being on that track. If you was at Talladega, it will be a long 2.66. That's long for that many laps as well too. And also you have to remember, you have to think about the engine, you have to think about how long it takes, you have to have patience. And also, the car gets in a little fatigued as well too. So that is right now is our NASCAR moments, baby. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. All right, everybody. I hope you guys are still enjoying yourselves with me. I am Rico no Suave. And of course, bringing back my girl, Wendy. Let's bring that back. Wendy, did you like that segment or what?
Suits, the fireproof suits they have to wear, that they wear.
Yeah.
Those things are hot.
Yeah, they are. They are. They're super hot.
I just don't know how you can take the noise. I've been to one racetrack. We have a dirt track here in the county where I live.
Yeah.
And they do the dirt track. And I'll tell you what, that noise. Oh.
I can imagine all of the engines. Yeah, it gets really loud. It does get really loud. And me being part of the media for NASCAR, and I'm so happy to be able to do that. There is a lot. There's a lot involved in, people with earplugs, and of course you have to have, the headphones to be able to cover that noise and things like that. It is a lot, but it's very exciting to see when you're out there, because it's all about that energy as well. So, Wendy, we got to get back to you, but I have to go to the comments because there are some questions and there are some comments that people are actually out there giving. So I got to give some shout outs. My man Johnson Song from the Philippines, speaking of the Philippines, is checking out and giving us some love and some smiles and said hello. John T for free said, "What's up, y'all?" He said he loves me too. Love you too, bro. And then Donna Marie Bird is checking in. She says, "Hi, everybody. Hope we're keeping you warm." And of course, we're talking about Chicago here, right? Thank you so much. Beatrice Davis is checking in. And she says, "Hello. It's good to be back." And also, we actually have, oh, yes. And then, when we talk about, some good comments, we do have some good comments from Beatrice. She says, "Man, she really loves your story. She really loves your journey. It's awesome. It's awesome." And question comes in. Yes. How long? So we talk about when you're actually putting together an OCA, I guess based off of what the product is or what the design is, what is the average time of actually making an OCA?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, and thank you very much, Beatrice.
Yes.
This is the first project I teach. It's in the book, and it's 2 pieces, and it takes 2 to 3 hours. And that's
Yes.
when you first begin.
Wow.
Okay? So you see, very pretty.
Yep.
Now, that's in the book. It's also a course. But when you get to pieces like the fish
Yeah.
or my 40-foot landscape, that's a whole different story.
Okay.
And that requires planning, budgeting. You also have to know how it's going to be hung, how people want it to be presented. And all of those factors are part of planning out and producing OCA for a contract.
I
Now,
see.
part of the fun is going to fabric stores and buying fabric.
Right.
And I would go in and I would need mountain fabric, sky fabric, whatever. And I would walk up and down the aisles of the more like the stores that have lots of fabric. There's some in Washington, D.C. that are amazing.
Yeah.
And you go looking for particular textures and tones and that kind of stuff. But the time involved is always 3 times what you think it's going to be when you're projecting how long it's going to take you to finish a project and how much you're going to charge for it. So I usually
Gotcha.
make 25 cents an hour or something like that by the time it's all
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, you would think.
Anyway, it's not hard to learn. It's
Sure.
easy to follow the step-by-step instructions in the book, and there isn't anything mysterious about it. I put everything out there, and you only learn what you need for the particular project you're doing, and the projects progress so that you take what you learned in the last project and put it into the next.
I see. Cool. I like that. And then we have one more question. And this goes into the next segment to talk a little bit about your book. So in regards to the naming of your book as an author that's coming out, what is the name of the book? And this was actually a question from Donna Marie Bird. She said, has she published a book on how to do hair art? OCA?
OCA.
OCA? Oh, OCA. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. OCA. Yes.
Yes.
Sorry.
So the book is due to be published sometime in January through Amazon Hub. And if you pop over to my Cloud Haven Studio website, cloudhavenstudio.com,
Yep.
you can go to the section that allows you to give me your email, and I will send you a notification the minute the book is live on Amazon Hub. And then you can hop over on the link to Amazon Hub, buy either an ebook or the hard copy, and they will ship it out to you.
Nice. Yeah, so we just displayed as far as, of course, the website itself. So make sure you go to cloudhavenstudio.com and make sure, hopefully, Donna Marie Bird, get ready to purchase that book. Make sure you get ready. And of course, I did ask about the pre. the pre-sale, but right now that's not available. But
Not yet.
when the book is going to be released, make sure you please get that notification. Make sure you sign up. Once you get the notification, go right ahead and purchase that book when it's ready, and then go from there. So, what is the actual? What is the actual name of the book?
It's called Contemporary OCA. It's backwards. Level 1 and 2, an introduction.
Okay.
And this is it's an 8.5 by 11 book.
Okay.
And it's in full color, 150 pages.
Oh, wow.
It is
Okay.
very detailed, and it has a little bit of the history that I've talked about, a little
Yes.
bit of my story, lots of photographs, and especially lots of photographs of student projects so that you can get ideas from what other students have done.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Oh my God. Time just flies by so fast when you're having fun, especially talking OCA. You know what I mean? And I had such a great time with you today, but I do have something for you before we get out of there, because you gave me a gift for coming on my show, and I have a gift for you. Here's your gift.
Boy.
So we talk about gems of the world, and hopefully you like t-shirts.
I do.
So this is a shirt for
pretty.
you, right? Make sure that looks
Nice.
good there. Yes. Hold on. Make sure that's good. All right. There it is. Boom. Yes. So the Rico No Suave show, we want to thank you so much for being on this show with us today. But being a gem of the world means a lot to me. And of course, you need to be recognized because you're publishing a book, and also your journey in between Japan and also Hawaii, but also teaching people from the contemporary OCA, and also indulging in the culture. I really love the music part, though. The music part of you actually singing in Japan, and they actually going back and forth and loving what you're doing. This is an amazing story, amazing journey that I've actually had to witness today. So with this, we want to welcome to the Rico No Suave show family. And of course, I'm going to send this out to you. So welcome. Yeah, baby. Yes. So this definitely means a lot to me to be able to give to you. And I really appreciate you being on the show. So we're going to put up your social media real quick, because we want people to, of course, make sure that they actually follow you. So let's put up that Instagram. There you go. We have the Instagram, which is Cloud Haven Studio. So make sure you guys please go and follow her there, right? On Instagram, Cloud Haven Studio, and make sure you put those underscores in there as well too. It might come up, based off of, updates from Instagram. You might not have to do all that. You might just be able to type the name in and being able to see it. So please make sure you go ahead and follow there. Here's the next one. We do have that Facebook, right? Ooh-wee. We got the Cloud Haven Studio Creative Group. Yes, make sure you please go ahead and follow her there. Make sure you like everything, and you'll get notified. So if there's a message or anything like that, or there's a new post, you'll get notified. So make sure you please go ahead and follow her there. Of course, and we got the website, right? We want to put that back up, because you know why? Because that's important as well too, for you to get notified when the book has been released, so you can go crazy and buy 2 or 3 books, right? Buy a book for the whole family. Forget about it. You know what I mean? Forget about it. So go ahead and make sure you go to cloudhavenstudio.com and go from there. Wendy, it's been a pleasure, love.
Thank you so much, Rico. It's been a pleasure on my end, too.
Yes. And we will definitely keep in contact with each other. But
And we're
until
going to
next time,
Japan,
love.
right?
I'm sorry?
And we're going to Japan together, right?
Yes, sir. Let's go, man. Let's go. I'm ready. All right, Miss Wendy, well, you take care of yourself. Thank you so much for being on the show. We wish you nothing but success, but we'll always keep in contact as well, too, okay?
Okie dokie.
All right, everybody, that is Wendy Christine Duke. All right, everybody, we got to get out of here. We want to thank you guys so much for being here on the show with me, your boy, Rico No Suave. Yes, and we're going to put up our social media, because you know why? Our social media counts too, because you need to know where to find us. All right, everybody, here's the first one. Our first one is Boom. We got our Instagram at Rico No Suave Show. Make sure you go ahead and follow us there. Make sure you go ahead and like everything we're doing. Make sure you go ahead and follow us there now. Here's the next one. You already know. Facebook, they love us. They continue to love us at Rico No Suave Show. Make sure you go ahead and follow us and like us there. Here's the next one. Oh, yeah, you already know. Subscribe. Subscribe now. Follow us, subscribe, and do all that great stuff. Post comments. We want to know what you think about the show as well, too, at Rico No Suave Show on YouTube. All right, here's the next one. Okay, yeah, you know, mixcloud.com/Rico No Suave Show. Please make sure you go ahead. If you like the audio piece, make sure you go ahead and follow us there as well, too. We got to put up our website as well, too. So make sure you go to our website at www.riconosuaveshow.com. Please make sure you go ahead and follow us and check out the archives. We got archives there as well, too, where you can actually rewatch the video. All right, everybody, we got to get out of here, but we'll see you, of course, next week for another great person to interview, another great human. All right, everybody, we'll see you as we end off the show just like this.